Sometimes, even a superstar like Tom Cruise cannot bring back the success from the past. Universal Pictures Studios knows this the best, since they tried to revive the ancient Egyptian mummy story once more in 2017. The expectations were big, but the disappointment of the audience was even bigger. So, what do you think? Is it possible that we could watch another mummy movie soon? First, let's make a short recap of the 2017 Mummy movie that was supposed to be a real blast.
Sometimes it does take a monster to fight a monster.
Directed by Alex Kurtzman, the Mummy movie from 2017 had the task to reboot the franchise, but it received generally negative critics. The movie was supposed to be the first installment in a film universe known as Dark Universe. Javier Bardem had already been announced as Frankenstein's monster in Bill Condon's Bride of Frankenstein movie, and Johnny Depp was gearing up to play the titular character in The Invisible Man. Some other movies that were planned were The Wolfman, Van Helsing, Dracula, and Dark Army. But except for The Invisible Man in 2020, no other movies were filmed so far, and the reason for this was the commercial failure of The Mummy. Back in 2017, almost no one expected that The Mummy would have such a cataclysmic box office outing. With a budget of $125 to $195 million, it earned only $410 million worldwide. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is even worse, at only 35%, and the movie has only a 5.4 rating on IMDb. And if you look at the cast and crew, you will be even more surprised that this movie had so many bad critics. Except for Tom Cruise, who played the soldier of fortune Nick Morton, there was Russell Crowe, Sofia Boutella, Jake Johnson, and Courtney B. Vance. The story follows Tom Cruise's character Nick Morton, a U.S. Army sergeant who accidentally awakens an ancient Egyptian princess, the titular mummy, played by Sofia Boutella. The cursed and buried centuries ago princess is now bloodthirsty and seeks vengeance and wreaks havoc. The 2018 Golden Raspberry Awards brought even 8 nominations for something worst for the movie, and Tom Cruise won one of these nominations, the one for Worst Actor. Who would have guessed? If we hadn't read this, we wouldn't have believed it. However, one thing is sure. Universal Pictures wanted to start their universe just like the one the MCU has, or The Conjuring. Even though they failed in their first attempt, a sequel or maybe a spin-off for The Mummy will take place. So, here is everything we know about the yet untitled movie. First, let's see what could be the potential release date for another Mummy movie. Unfortunately, we will disappoint you, as it has been more than 5 years since the premiere of the last film, and we haven't heard anything about the sequel. Almost everyone is sure that Tom Cruise won't afford another adventure in this franchise, but he would surely hit that like button! No, really, he probably wouldn't be involved in another movie. The movie makers may have to go with a fresh face and some younger names. There are many guesses now. Some of them are saying that the 2017's The Mummy will have a sequel, and some are saying that if there will be another film, it'll be a whole new story. Yes, it's hard to give any conclusions at this point, so we'll take our time and wait a little bit more. And what about the potential cast for the next movie? After The Mummy, Tom Cruise had 3 premieres: the biographical action crime film American Made 2017, the action spy film Mission Impossible Fallout 2018, and the latest Top Gun Maverick 2021. All 3 movies helped him to regain his mojo. He was careful in choosing his next roles after the failure of The Mummy, so if he decides to take place in another ancient adventure, he will surely have some bigger demands. Cruise surely knows that the Universal Monsters franchise has so much potential, but you know what they say, after you burn your mouth on hot milk, you blow on your yogurt. As there is no information from Universal about the potential cast, we won't give you any spoilers right now. Now, let's see the possibilities for the plot in the next movie. We made some deep research, and we found that Universal is cooking up a new live-action mummy project. As is corroborated by the Midgard Times, the next story would explore the origin story of the iconic undead villain Imhotep. Also, Jean-David Solon, the artist who worked on movies like Doctor Strange and Star Wars: The Last Jedi, also shared some details about the project on his ArtStation page. And now, it's more than sure that the movie would have an ancient Egyptian setting. Imhotep, the cursed priest, was played by Arnold Vosloo in the first of the two movies with Brendan Fraser. Originally, the character was first introduced in a 1932 film by Boris Karloff. The Mummy from 2017 tossed him aside, and instead of him, introduced a female mummy named Ahmanet. However, the leaks are saying that Universal will bring back Imhotep once more in the franchise. Both previous movies, The Mummy from '99 and The Mummy Returns, have given a lot about Imhotep's backstory, so the idea for bringing him back is not that bad. According to many film critics and fans, Universal Studios will possibly need to perform another soft reboot of the famous Mummy franchise, just to bring things up to scratch, and then try to bring the franchise on the big screen once again. Fans on social media and the other forums are discussing that Universal needs to bring back the lighthearted and comedic tone, and the best thing to do this is to reintroduce Brendan Fraser to the franchise. Speaking with the playlist about his 2017 movie, the director Alex Kurtzman suggested that you should smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. No, but really, in all seriousness now, he addressed his painful time on The Mummy by saying, quote, "I tend to subscribe to the point of view that you will learn nothing from your successes and you will learn everything from your failures. And that was probably the biggest failure of my life, both personally and professionally. There are about 1,000,000 things I regret about it, but it also gave me so many inexpressibly beautiful gifts. I didn't become a director until I made that movie, and it wasn't because it was well directed. It was because it wasn't." But despite his regrets about how The Mummy turned out, Kurtzman says that he is thankful that he was able to direct the movie. Quote, "I am very grateful for the opportunity to make those mistakes because it rebuilt me into a tougher person, and it also rebuilt me into a clearer filmmaker," he said. If Brendan Fraser will somehow return to the franchise, that will be praised by most of the fans. His 1999 The Mummy can serve as the perfect template for the Dark Universe and would almost ensure Universal a box office success. But Fraser's original character, Rick O'Connell, would be at least 120 years old in the present day, which could be an obstacle for his inclusion. But when you work on a story that follows mummies that are 3,000 years old and many other monsters and ghosts, it wouldn't be entirely outside the realm of possibility to see O'Connell once again in the franchise. Bringing Fraser back to the franchise would correct one of Hollywood's biggest failures. Remember that Fraser was always able to bring elements of action, romance, and comedy to a horror-based movie. He is the reason why the Mummy movies are still popular, and we are rewatching them even today. So what do you think about these possibilities? Would you like to see Brendan Fraser in another ancient adventure? Of course, we are still very far away from another movie in the franchise. Fans are first waiting on a green light from Universal Studios. Film critics think that Kurtzman deserves another chance to direct the movie, as he can learn from his mistakes. After 5 years, he is much more experienced, and with some great scripts, he will cover up the disappointment from the last movie and will bring the Mummy franchise back to the top. Thanks for watching! See you in the next video.